Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. Now on today's video, I'm going to show you the unboxing and setup of my xTool P2 laser. Now this is a CO2 laser, it's 55 watts, and it has a lot of nice features that I look forward to using. One such feature that I'm really excited about is you can get a riser base for it, and that lets you do tumblers and other thick things. So I'll have videos coming on that. For today's video, I set up my camera, I let it run. It is not great videography, but if this helps somebody, that's what I'm here for. I'll be happy. Now I show you every step of the way with one exception, and I'll talk about that in the video. The reason I don't show that step is your hands are right in the way of the camera and you can't see anything. So in that section, I do refer you to the best video I found on this part, and that happens to be an xTool video. Now also, before I put this together, I watched Wood Nerds and a few other videos, but the Wood Nerds video, in my opinion, was the most beneficial to me. Now you're going to see when I open the box, there's two manuals in it. One of those is a quick start guide. I didn't read this, but I would suggest read the materials, watch some videos, and then just dig in and tackle it. Now the box that the P2 came in weighed somewhere around 130 pounds, so I had to recruit some help to get it upstairs and into my craft room. It was secured really well with these straps, so I just had to use a nice sharp pair of scissors to cut these loose. And then after I got all of them off the box, it was time to take the lid off. Well, I thought it was a lid. It was just these pieces that hold the box intact with the straps around it. Now it's time to take the lid off, and you can see it covers the whole thing, and it was packaged really well in all of this foam. So I lifted that top piece of foam off. Then I removed all the plastic wrapping around it. And at that time, it was time to recruit the guys again to lift it up so I could get the bottom of the box out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and spin this around so you can see the front. You can tell it's made really well. It has these nice hinges on the back. So I just started taking all the foam out. And first thing I see is there's a couple of manuals there. Underneath the manuals were some materials. There were several pieces of thin basswood, as well as something like a heavy cardboard or corrugated paper. There was a funnel, and I'm going to use that funnel later to add the antifreeze and the water to the cooling tube. The electrical power cord, and then the cord that connects it to the computer. It also came with a few extra screws, and then it came with some clamps so that you can clamp your materials down, and then a screwdriver. Now this screwdriver has two ends available to you. Now as I was lifting that out, it felt heavy, so I figured out there was something under here, and it was a big bottle of antifreeze. Here's the one thing I would say. I wish this antifreeze was marked better, that it's highly poisonous, so I marked it after I was done with it. And then here's also the vent tube. That's going to go on the back with this clamp. All right, I'm just pulling the gantry forward so I can remove the rest of this packing. And then I just push it back in place. So the next step is to remove this one screw at the front of the inside so that I can pull the tray out. There's the little screw hole right there. So then you can pull this tray out. This catches crumbs and excess materials, but they also packed it with some things. Now, I wasn't able to pull it out, so I knew something was in the way, and there were a couple of little silica bags in the way. So I took a couple of these risers out to remove those. And by the way, these risers are made very, very nicely. There's extra holes you can put them in. So if you want them closer together for really small items, you can move them closer together. Anyway, once I removed those two bags, then I could pull the tray out. Now inside the tray were two more pieces of material. This is a clear plastic acrylic, and the second one is also a clear acrylic. The rest of this was just packing to keep it safe. Let me go ahead and slide that back in. So at this point, I'm just moving the gantry, making sure it moves smoothly, moving the laser head, making sure it moves smoothly, and then it's time to take a back piece off so that I could expose the tube that you put the water and the antifreeze in. Now there's a sticker that covers over the back that I'm going to take off, and the top glass or the top plexiglass, whatever it is. So you have to peel that off, and I didn't even read it. I probably should have, but I didn't. Then the screwdriver that they give to you, it has two tips. So I used the Phillips head to remove that first screw, and then the Torx tip for these screws. So I'm going to pull that gantry forward. And then I believe there's 6 screws here that I had to remove. And it's really nice because they label each of them so it's hard to miss them. Now after you remove those from the inside, then you have to remove some that's on the back side. So I turned my machine around again and started on those. This time there's only 5 that you have to remove. Now this next part was probably the hardest thing of the whole project, and that was getting this plastic lid off. So you have to pull it out from the back first because there's some tabs down there. And then after you pull the back side out, then you can lift that top side up. So I just worked from the right side to the left side to do that. Once I figured it out, it came out easily, but it took me a bit. Now they ask you to inspect the tube, make sure it's not cracked or anything like that. And so that's what I'm doing now. In a little bit, we're going to put some water and antifreeze in to fill that tube. Now here's the antifreeze, and they do give you instructions on it. Basically, you're using the lowest temperature you get in your area, and you're mixing your water and your antifreeze the way they tell you to. Even though I'm going to have mine inside the house, I still went ahead and used antifreeze. Now, I didn't have a large enough cup, so I had to mix mine a couple times. You can use a larger pitcher, or you can do what I did and just do it a couple times. The first water and antifreeze that goes in is a mixture, but after I turn on the machine and get that circulating, I'm going to add more water. I want to power on the machine, so I had to plug in the cord. And then I'm not sure if I'm supposed to put the lid back on, but I did. Then you turn it on right here. So it says to leave it on for 30 seconds to let that water and antifreeze mixture go through the tube. And there it is. So I felt pretty successful. I went ahead and left it on for the full 30 seconds. Then I was ready to just put the remaining water in that it told me to put in. And for me, based on my mixture, I put in 300 additional milliliters of water. So you want to screw that lid back on, and now you can actually look at your mirrors. There's 3 mirrors. There's the one back here. There's a little lip on it that you can put your nail behind and pull it off. Now I will say this back mirror was pretty hard to get to. I was afraid it'd fall. So the mirror is right there. It faces to the inside of the machine, and so when you're pulling those off, you don't have to worry about you getting your fingers on the back side of the mirrors. You want to make sure you don't get them on the front side. My mirror was clean, so I didn't clean it any further, and then I had to just figure out how to put it back on. So if you're taking yours off, pay attention to how they come off so you can get them back on the same way they came off. Now to access the second mirror, you take that little sticker off, and then this little door slides to the right. Now the other thing there is a locking mechanism. When you start your machine, something in there helps the door lock down for safety. So you can pull your gantry forward, and again, this mirror is very easy to access. Now I'm not very coordinated, so it wasn't super easy for me, but to access it was easy. This mirror looked clean to me, so I put it right back on the way I took it off. Then I just slid that gantry back. There's a third mirror right inside here near your laser head. So I took that sticker off. When I took it off, part of the cover came off with it. It just magnetizes, so it's okay. And then this top part magnetizes also, so I just pulled it up. Now here's the third and last mirror. So once again, I'm just going to remove that, make sure it's clean, and then after I've done that, I'll put it back down. Now, even though this one also has a divot in it, maybe you can see that divot there. On this one, that divot doesn't have to go anywhere in particular. On the other two, that divot needed to go right back where it was when I took it off. So I just put this one back on. And now it's time to see if this thing is going to fire correctly. Now you do need to make sure that that white line is covered. That's what it says there. These go on super easy because again, they're just magnetized. So here's how this works. The laser beam comes in from the back side through that hole. It travels up to the front left corner. It goes in the hole right there. It hits that mirror that we took off. Then it comes out that side hole. Once it comes out that side hole, the beam continues to travel over to the laser head. So it goes in that side hole of the laser head, hits that mirror that we saw earlier as well, and then it goes down to your material. Now it's time to hook up my computer. So I remove that label and then connect my cord, but I had to use an adapter, and I connected it to my computer. Now it's time to open the xTool Creative Space software. I already had it on my computer because I've used an xTool before, but if you haven't, it's very easy to install. Now you can see a picture of an xTool F1 in the top right corner, so this is letting me know that if I change devices, some things might be lost. So I said OK. On this screen, it's letting me know that new firmware was found. It also talks about some of the features of the new firmware, so I say go ahead and update. Even though I know the P2 is physically connected to my computer, I need to make sure that the software is communicating with the P2. So I go right here and say Connect Device. Then on this screen, I select it again and it connects. Now it's time to do a pulse test. And what a pulse test is it's a test to make sure that your laser is actually firing accurately. To do that, you go up to this right-hand corner and you click on this somewhat round button. That brings up another screen. Now on this screen, you click on Settings. Then where it says Optical Path Setup, you click on the word Test. Now, if you don't hear anything else I say in this video, here is my biggest piece of advice. You see where it says Click to View? Click on that and watch the video. The next step after you do your pulse test is to adjust your mirrors if you need to. It gives you very good information, it gives you a good video, and it tells you step by step what to do. Let me show you what happened when I did my pulse tests. The first thing that you need to do this pulse test is to move the gantry to the front right corner, and you use these arrows to do that. Before I clicked on the word pulse, I put 3 pieces of masking tape over a certain hole. You're going to see that here in a minute. But basically, we are hoping when we run this pulse test that a burn mark shows up in the middle of that hole, and you'll see the burn mark on the tape. Let me show you what I mean, and let me tell you, I had to do this several times. I've seen other videos where it was perfect the first time or the second time. Not the case with mine. And that was due to the way we did the adjustments, not the machine at all.
Ready?
Yep. I heard it, and yeah. Please be in the middle. I think it's in the middle.
It is not. Ready?
Ready, boss. I mean, Tim.
It still needs
A tiny bit to the right. I mean, tiny bit. All right. Yeah.
I think it needs to go up a little bit yet.
All righty. It's high now. It got real high.
Okay. Ready?
Ready. What the heck? All right. Wow. Instead of it's around the center, that's...
Yeah, I think it. Okay, last time, Marilyn.
Okay. Hey, from my view, that looks good. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's still a little bit low in my mind. I don't know that I want to go any more with that.
When we were finally happy with the pulse test, we moved the machine into place in front of the window and added this exhaust hose. Yeah, I know it would have been easier to do this before moving it against the wall, but I didn't think about it. Now you can also buy an air purifier, but I'm just going to hang this out the window when I use my P2. And I feel like I wouldn't be responsible if I didn't show you this emergency off button. If anything goes wrong, you just push this in and it stops your machine. And then to make your machine functional again, you just twist it to the right. Now I'm going to do an accuracy test, and I saw Wood Nerds do this. What he did is he drew something kind of like this on this corrugated paper. He put it in the machine, then he drew a square or a rectangle over it in the software, and then he cut it. What that does is it makes sure that what you're seeing on the screen cuts precisely where you wanted it to. So I'm going to go ahead and put this inside, and then I'll jump on my computer. Now, I turned off the P2 because it was way too loud to try to talk over. But here's what I did. I put my corrugated paper in, and you can see the right angle that I drew right there. Now, I want to go over here and say Insert, and I'm going to insert a rectangle. You could also use the Shapes feature, but this works just as well. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle on that. Let's go ahead and blow that up really large. Then I want to adjust my rectangle. So I click on it and let's move it to the left just a little bit. And it looks pretty good up here. It looks like it's right in the middle of that. Now I don't need such a big rectangle. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit smaller. Now I'm ready to go ahead and cut this out. If it cuts just like we see it here, then I'm super happy. Now I need to click off of this so that I can select my material. So I'm going to click right here and I'm going to say this 3.5 millimeter corrugated paper. Now I'm going to go over, hook my computer back up to the xTool, turn it back on. I'll hit process on the next screen, start, and then I can push that blue button and cut this out. Let's watch it happen. All right, let's go ahead and take that out and see how accurate that was. Look at that cut. That was right on the money. Perfect. Now, I almost wish I would have done that before I even cleaned the mirrors or then worked on adjusting them. It might have come out okay without doing all that. But look at how well this did. I'm ready to start doing projects. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this was helpful to someone. If it helped one person get their P2 set up, like I said earlier, I'm happy. Now, if you're watching this in November, December, it's that time of year where xTool has some great sales going on. So check out the link below the video. If you're in the market for an xTool and you use that link, you get a discount and I receive a referral fee. Now, they don't tell me who you are, so I can't give you a proper thank you, but just know I truly appreciate it.